Have you ever wondered how Egypt came into existence? The question of who built ancient Egypt, its origin, and its civilization has very limited information. To answer this, one has to travel back in time and study an ancient ruler who ruled before the unification of ancient Egypt. His symbol was a scorpion guarded by a falcon. There have been some debates about whether the scorpion sign is meant to be a name, a title, or another meaning. Was there a scorpion king in ancient Egypt? Let's find out. The prehistoric or proto-dynastic period lasted from the beginning of human settlement to around 3100 BC, when the early dynastic period began. The period was known as the Zero Dynasty or Dynasty Zero because the ancient Egyptian civilization followed prehistoric Egypt. Ancient Egypt was known to be the most powerful and influential civilization for over 3,000 years. The Nile River and fertile soil were also critical to ancient Egypt's survival. During the Proto-Dynasty period, ancient Egypt was in the process of political unification, which resulted in a unified nation during the early dynasty period. During this time, many small cities sprang up along the Nile. Upper Egypt was fragmented into three major states as a result of centuries of conquest: Thinis, Naqada, and Nekhen. Naqada was the first to fall, while Thinis and Nekhen peacefully merged to form the Thinite royal family, which ruled over all of Egypt. When the Thinite kings die, they are buried in the el-Akab cemetery in Abydos. Egyptologists widely regarded Scorpion I as the first ruler of Upper Egypt during this period. Scorpion I reigned in Thinis around 3200 BC, 1 or 2 centuries before the more famous Scorpion II, according to Egyptologists who believe that there may have been 2 scorpions separated by a century. Serket, the goddess of medicine, magic, nature, and animals, is most likely the inspiration for the name Scorpion. It's unclear when her cult began, but she was always portrayed as a scorpion. It's not surprising that the scorpion is highly regarded in some way, given that these small, highly toxic creatures have been living in Egypt's sands since long before the Egyptian civilization even existed. The first scorpion king was laid to rest in Tomb Uj at Abydos in the Royal Cemetery, a very old pre-dynastic cemetery that spans the entire Naqada period. While his successor may have been buried in B50 at the adjacent cemetery with other dynasties, in 3400 BC, the Upper Kingdom of the Southern Desert Lands and the Lower Kingdom north of the Nile were the 2 main Egyptian kingdoms. There have been many controversies, arguments, and speculations about the Scorpion King, but recent archaeological studies have revealed that there was a Scorpion King in ancient Egypt. This was based on the discovery of a scorpion sign with his image on a mace head, the figure wearing an Upper Egyptian white crown, and the size of the figure towering over advisors and attendants. The Scorpion King is both intriguing and eye-catching. Some have also claimed that he is a mythical figure. However, evidence has shown that he was a true Scorpion King and one of the first rulers of Upper Egypt during Naqada III, over 6,000 years ago. His name, according to experts, represents either his resistance or his success in military strategy. He is thought to have reigned between 3200 and 3300 BC. Scorpion King I, also known as the father of civilization and the oldest known emperor, played a role in establishing the country as the first empire and in uniting the country as ancient Egypt. Experts believe that all pharaohs before him were complete myths. King Scorpion I was a wise prince from Abydos in Upper Egypt. Abydos is located to the north of Luxor. For the first time, he conquered Lower Egypt and united Egypt. He wore a white and red crown as a symbol of Egypt's unification and established a structure to rule over the people. According to discoveries in his tomb, archaeologists believe the first writing may have occurred during his reign, and his tomb may be the primitive framework upon which successive rulers based their design concepts. It is said to be a significant precursor of the pyramids of Giza. These are the specific archaeological discoveries that prove there was a scorpion king in ancient Egypt. The tomb. Gunther Dreyer of the German Archaeological Institute found a tomb submerged in the sands near Abydos, the Egyptian necropolis also known as the City of the Dead, and he was certain it belonged to King Scorpion I. The tomb was a 12-room tomb made of mud bricks that were a scaled-down replica of the Scorpion's palace. Its size is 7.5 by 10 meters, indicating that the owner was of great stature. Although the tomb had been pilfered by looters and the mummy had been stolen before archaeologists discovered the tomb, Dreyer discovered an ivory scepter, indicating that the tomb was a royal tomb, and carbon-14 dating revealed that the scepter dates from around 3250 BC, making it the oldest scepter discovery in Egypt. One room in the discovered tomb was filled with pottery shards, most likely jars used to hold wines and other valuables for the afterlife. and a scorpion symbol was inscribed in ink on each of the jars. Small serex found in these vases provided evidence for the existence of King Scorpion. Serex were the enclosing devices used to create the early names of kings. 2 serex on Tarkan pottery vessels have been interpreted as scorpion, but this is not perceived as a concise reading. And the serex are said to be very strong evidence that the king named Scorpion existed. There is also no concrete evidence that the 4-chambered tomb discovered in the abyss is Scorpion's burial site. Bones and ivory tags. Another controversial finding by Dreyer was a series of 160 bones and ivory tags in the tomb. It is believed they are primitive hieroglyphs which predate the commonly accepted origin of cuneiform writing in Mesopotamia by 200 years. Cuneiform is a system of writing first developed by the ancient Sumerians of Mesopotamia 3500 BCE. Many of the tags found were records of linen and oil delivered to King Scorpion, and they included lists of the king's names, institutions, numbers, and short notes. Renee Friedman of the British Museum speculated that King Scorpion ordered the development to be able to record the payments of taxes to the royal treasury. Carved rock. Recently, a Yale University archaeologist John Darnell and his wife discovered a primitive scene carved on rocks near the Keene bed of the Nile River that appears to commemorate a victory by King Scorpion when he ruled the kingdoms of Abydos and Hierakonpolis. This carving may signify an early unification of Upper Egypt 150 years ago before Narmer unified the entire country. The conquest of Nakada was thought to have given King Scorpion control of not only the Nile but also of important roads leading easily to the Red Sea and west to the cases of the Western Desert. The rock engraving is proof that Scorpion probably made war with neighbors. The inscription on the rock shows a fight scene. Scorpion Tableau. The Scorpion Tableau was discovered. Some have called this tableau the world's oldest historical record. The tableau contained images of a scorpion, a falcon, a large antelope, a bird holding a serpent in its beak, a figure carrying a staff, a palanquin chair, the head of a bull, and a captive, but no one knows what the images mean. Unprecedented details about the king were written on the tableau. It consists of details about the king, whose achievements were considered just myth and legend. The tableau is an 18 by 20-inch painting found by Dr. John Coleman Darnell and his wife Deborah Darnell while they were surveying ancient trade routes in the desert west of the Nile, at the site of Gebel Chouti. The tableau also shows a figure wearing the white crown of Upper Egypt, identified as King Scorpion, wielding a mace over a wild-haired captive next to a bull's head mounted on a stick. More storks and a falcon follow, followed by another man holding a staff. The upper levels also contain what looks to be a sedan chair with an arch canopy, which the Darnells believe is the earliest datable depiction of this ancient and much discussed object. Although the occupant is not visible, such artifacts, according to the Darnells, were typically linked with the female power behind the throne, be it that of a queen, princess, or goddess. They suggested that the sedan chair described a goddess who follows in procession to a shrine, perhaps to view or participate in the presentation of a captive, as depicted in the tableau's lower register. The Darnells argued that this is an annotated historical document because it uses signs not as just stone carvings but in hieroglyphic fashion. They are not organized as grammatical phrases and sentences as in advanced writing, but the signs are arranged in such a way that they express symbolic meaning. The Darnells concluded as they read the narrative that this is a record of military campaign to establish control over a territory of conflicting small kingdoms. It is also a declaration of the triumph of order over chaos, or to put it more simply and less abstractly, victory. Based on their knowledge of future events, John Darnell hypothesized that King Scorpion's, or whoever his name was, victory could have been decisive in uniting southern Egypt and bringing the country together. That is thought to have occurred around 3100 BC. The evidence undoubtedly points to the reign of a scorpion king in ancient Egypt. Indeed, Egypt is a culturally and historically rich country. Want to know what's the next discovery from Egypt? Kindly like this video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos from the secret world.